Hello citizens, Senator John Rube Boob speaking to you. I am here today to address any questions you might have in these times of uncertainty. We know it may seem confusing that every institution in this country now seems to be openly at war with you, the normal functioning American citizenry of this country. As those you've elected and those you depend upon seem to be gripped with a state of self-destructive mania that is now tearing apart every thread in every fabric of American society. But we'd like to assure you that noticing the inconsistent, incorrect, illogical, or downright purely evil things the institutions in this country force you to believe are simply symptoms of your late-stage COVID infection. Some of the other symptoms of late-stage COVID infection include noticing the organizations creating and trying to enforce the rules on COVID are the same organizations that tell us masculinity and video gaming are mental illnesses, while gender dysphoria is healthy. Questioning why, if the government's forcing of masks was about health rather than compliance, why any face covering can be used rather than only medically approved masks. Questioning why as many as 50% of COVID tests give false positive results, ballooning positive test numbers across the board, while fatality rates and hospitalizations are falling, and were never much to begin with. Questioning why hospitals can receive as much as 8 times the money when a patient dies from COVID-related illness versus a pneumonia-related illness. Observing the people in charge tell us this is a deadly virus worthy of locking humanity on global house arrest for years, then telling us to protest in the streets wildly, because apparently the groups that were most vulnerable at the beginning of this madness are now immune, when they group together by the thousands like sardines on the streets of America. Then the people in charge try to put us back on global house arrest. Noticing that we've now entered a cycle of ever-increasing forced compliance followed by guilt and blame, meant to disorient and terrify the weak-minded into socially pressuring others. Noticing we've slowly shifted from an inorganic class war to an inorganic race war, by bamboozling you with incoherent twaddle, meant to empower the stupid, while destroying anything outside of the self-destructive program. Questioning why the correct terminology has gone from black to African American, back to black intentionally to spark an artificial black-white divide. Questioning why only 200,000 of 35 million donated to the Minnesota Bail Fund actually went to bailing out protesters. Observing that the Black Lives Matter donation page is directly on a DNC front web server with funds going directly to the DNC. Observing the Republicans forcing more and more anti-encryption laws, further eroding and destroying your right to privacy while opening you ever further to be gang-raped by technological tyranny. Noticing ever-expanding censorship. Understanding of the 3 million jobs created in the United States between 2018 to 2019, only 3% went to American-born men of any race. Observing that your elected officials and virtually every institution and corporation within the country are not only allowing, but actively supporting your being terrorized for political ends. Noticing this all seems vaguely familiar to the inorganic color revolutions that erupted throughout the Middle East and Eastern Europe. If you have any of these symptoms, your government requires you to report for COVID testing immediately, as you may be very, very sick, and require government supervision. This is voluntary, but not optional. I am Senator John Rube, and this is your United States government in action.
New world order.